We'd like to welcome each and every individual to Voices of Integrity podcast for the Quantum Thinking Sales Bootcamp training. And today is an exceptionally special day because it is Rosanna and I's 42nd wedding anniversary. So 47 years ago, or 42 years ago, I was walking down the aisle at this time. It's crazy how fast life goes. It's very, very cool. All right, let's dive in and let's start off with Amy. What would you like to accomplish today?
I would like to know what are good 10 strategic strikes to implement during pre-sales when we're working with prospects.
Nice. Okay. And so Erin did a great job. She was here earlier than everybody else. I told her we're just gonna give everybody, a little hard time and say Erin and I, finished everything in 2 minutes, 3 minutes. We're just done. We're good. So she had prepped me for that. So that's good. So that's box five. So before we get to box five, so again, we have the marketing, pre-sale, sales, service, and client for life. So we have these five areas. We have six levels of proficiency. There's a number at the bottom of each one of these boxes. And so box one is going to be identify targets. And so that's your ideal avatar. Box two is develop and deliver a message. And so that's going to be what's the message? It's going to be a sticky message that's going to get people to come in. Box three is going to be track 100% of the leads, making sure we have really good lead tracking in place and we're gathering all the information that we need to. Box four is ask key questions. And so that's going to be in the sale. Now, if they don't move forward immediately with the sale, then we go ahead and go to box five, and that's implement strategic strike. And then box six is going to be group people and messages together. This is what's called the golden triangle. This one right here is maybe one of the hardest, if not the hardest, of all 30 boxes, because it really takes everything in. We actually taught a course on this. I think it was PCS, Prospect Conversion System, and it's like so they based on university studies, they have found that the average number of contacts it takes to make a sale is somewhere between 6 and 10 contacts. They've also researched salespeople, and they found that the average salesperson makes 1 to 2 contacts. So if it takes 10 contacts to make a sale and you make 9 contacts, how much do you make? How much money do you make? You do 90% of the work. How much money do you make?
Oh, you make zero until they're
Make-
closed.
You
Yeah.
make zero. Make zero. Like zero. Like so you can do 90% of the work and you will make nothing. And so you have to build this system. It's a strategic strike, and so it's a 10 plus um, strategic strike. So you go ahead and you say, okay, so I'm going to touch them first, and then I'm going to touch them next, and then I'm going to touch them again, and then I'm going to touch them again. These touches could be automated touches, they could be phone calls, they could be emails, they could be social media, they could be texts, they could be in person, but you want to touch them 10 times. So you might have multiple different strategic strikes. Any questions on this?
I can say, is there any like best practices of things that go out, or is it just specific to your industry? Like,
Nope, there's definitely best practices. So I was hoping somebody would ask that question, and Amy didn't let me down. So what you do is you go ahead. This is where it gets to be fun, at least for somebody like me. And so you go ahead and you find out why prospects are lost. Why are you losing prospects? Okay. So you have sales, you present a solution, and somebody says no, or I'm going to wait, or whatever. And then so you lose the prospect. So then what you do is then you go ahead and find out why you lost that prospect. It's called an Army casualty principle. So when there's a death on the battlefield, somebody dies in the Army on the battlefield, they research why they died. Why do they do that? It doesn't do the person who died a bit of good.
So they can prevent maybe a future death.
That's exactly right. When you think about it, the average sales closing ratio for most industries is 1 out of 10. That means 90% of all your marketing, pre-sales, and sales effort that you do, you don't get paid on. It's hard to make your wow income goal work the number of hours you're working if you're only getting paid on 10%. And so what you want to do is you want to find out why you're not closing the leads. Then what you do is you go ahead and you go down to box 12. This is feeding successes back in. Your successes come from your servicing. So when you're servicing, you say, so somebody says you're overpriced. I don't think it's going to work. I'm this, whatever. You come up with the 5, 3, 4, 5 top reasons why somebody is not going to do business with you. You then go into your servicing, and your clients, when you service your clients well, they'll say anything on your behalf. So what you do is you write out the ideal testimony. So the ideal testimony, and you run it by them and say, hey, this is what we kind of thought your experience was. Is this close? Is this right? And the great clients will just say, yeah, no, that works for me. So what you're doing is, this is like Miracle-Gro right here, your box 12, which comes from the knowledge of why you're losing prospects. It's not why you think you're losing them. You have to research it. And the salesperson typically is not the best person to go ahead and call, because they're not going to be objective. So typically it's maybe somebody ideally who hasn't had with the prospect. Now your salespeople can ask why. The other thing you can do is you can also go ahead, and when somebody goes forward, you can go ahead and ask them why. So if they're moving into servicing, why? So you build testimonies based on this. The book, or the series, the prospect conversion, a class that I taught, came from the book Made to Stick by Dan and Chip Heath. Great book. It's an orange cover with duct tape on it. Probably the best marketing book, because it's how do you build sticky messages. And the essence of that, and I have a bachelor's degree in marketing. They didn't teach me this. It took me teaching this course and reading that book 3 times to figure it out. So you ask a question and you tell a story. So you ask a question and you tell a story. So the question opens up somebody's mind, and the story fills that person's mind and then moves that person where you want it to go. So you typically build your first strategic strike. You build your first strategic strike that be global for everybody. You often, when you're looking at considering personalities, so if you're looking at people's personality, there's a couple different thoughts on this, theories on this. Often you go after the driver first, but on a strategic strike, you're going to have more than one touch. So in selling, you typically go ahead and sell first to the driver. If you have 4 people in the room with different personalities, you sell first to the driver, second to the expressive, third to the analytic, and then fourth to the amiable. Anybody know why?
Well, the amiable, you're gonna have to build trust, so that's probably not gonna happen right away.
Okay, good. So why the driver first?
Because he's gonna get irritated with all the data.
Right. They don't want the fuzzy, warm, fun stuff. They don't want the data. They don't want all this stuff. It's just bottom line. Bottom line, big picture, what's in it for me? How's it gonna reach my goals? So you typically, because they're the most impatient. So you go ahead and hit the driver first. Then you go after the expressive and make it fun and exciting. This is where it's going to be fun and exciting. So they're they're the next highest frequency. And then the analytic is like, yeah, you guys, you can get them excited, but you can't trick me. Like, yeah, what's the data? And by this time, the driver and the expressive is checked out. But then you go into the data. What the amiable is doing is subconsciously is the amiable is looking, how do they build trust? These are three people. You guys are, probably too young to remember this, but there's a cereal commercial, and it's Life cereal, and they said, give it to Mikey. Mikey doesn't like anything. And so the amiable is like, these three people never get along. But if you can sell the driver, expressive, and analytic, the amiable is like, wow, they're going to be the ones that will support everything because everything's in harmony. So they wait for others, and if you make other people happy, you'll go for this. So should you go ahead and lead with the driver? I don't know. You could make an argument that you would, and it wouldn't be wrong. Or would you go ahead and lead with the number one reason why people don't? Or would you lead with the number one reason why people do? So in Made to Stick, there's if you're on Action Vision, you can talk to your Action Vision coach because there's a box. I don't know if it's box 2 or box 5, probably box 2. It actually goes through, I think it's 5 or 6 things that make a message sticky. You want a sticky message and you want to build a relationship. So there's 3 major types of marketing. You have product or service marketing where you're selling a product or service. Then you have relationship marketing where you're going to develop relationships. Strategic strike is kind of a combination of all of that. And so you always want to go ahead. So you'd lead with a really good question. Like, what's the best question? And so you talk to salespeople and you say, what's resonating out on the marketplace? And you'd probably lead with that question and then tell a story. And then what you're doing is the second one, maybe you're then going after the driver. Or you might lead with the expressive because the expressive is fun and fast. And then you go maybe driver and then analytic and then amiable. And you blend all of those in. So here's a cool website, if I can find it. Oh, what is that one? So this is a very interesting website. And so it's got in this particular sales system, it's got 7 steps. And then each step, you click on the step, and then it's got the 4 personalities. So somebody would resonate, click on here, and each of these 4 personalities has a letter, a testimony. So here's the question, and here's the story. And you can go to step 2. And then and so each of these are designed to go ahead and appeal to a specific personality. And then you're testing each of these because if you get a sale after the third, you don't know, is it because it's the third one that's working? So you might move that to the beginning, or it might be a building of a process. It's very much like dating, like relationship building. So that's one of the reasons it's so complex. There's not, in 34 plus years, there's not one right way to do it. It's right side of the brain, left side of the brain. It's fuzzy logic in being able to do it. Now, in the future, what you might do is you have one strategic strike that can be working, and anyone you use it all. But then you might develop a strategic strike for a specific industry or a specific avatar based on their specific what they're looking for. Or you might build a strategic strike based on their personality, or you might build a strategic strike based on their biggest challenge that's solving. So it could be any of those. Questions, Amy? Does that help and give you enough or too much or not enough or other questions you have?
No, but I think that's helpful to kind of dissect that. Thank you.
You're welcome. You're welcome. Nora, what would you like to accomplish today?
Not sure. Trying to figure out like how I can be the best team member that I can possibly be. So any suggestions would be welcome.
So, yeah, great question. Love the heart. And so in Life GPS AI, there's you can map out a team, a group. So there's 18 members in this particular team. And so what you do is it maps out each personality based on which of the four personalities, and then it's primary, secondary, in, and third in the geo and the pain. And then there's different reports. So I can go down to reports, and so it looks at clear communication, drive and discipline, 4 levels of reporting, or 4 levels of coaching, sales, why am I locked, leverage. So what this does is when I go ahead and let's say click on the clear communication, and then you can select which members you want to go ahead and have on it. I'm going to just select them all, and then I'm going to say generate report. So then it gives their personality, their primary, secondary, pain, and all of that. It grids them all out. And then it looks at their style and how to communicate. So this is me, and this is, this is going to be how I tend to, my natural style for communication. This is what to listen for, what I listen for. This is what to watch out for. In speaking with Mark, this is what it says. Lead with your main point before the details. Give them a moment to process their response. When it comes, it tends to be worth it. So this helps the person understand themselves and other people. And it maps out the entire team and gives coaching to the entire team, which helps the entire team to better understand it. So if you were to go ahead and, do you want to use one of the reports that's there? Or do you want a custom report? Like, how would I be, the best team member? And so in podcasts, what's interesting here is being a great team member. So here you go ahead and have, you have different podcasts here on being a different team member. Would you want to build one for this? So, building great team members and claiming unclaimed territory and internalization. So I think you target 2 people, Nora, and say, okay, how can I be the best team member to those 2 people? And it might be 2 people that, you're naturally connected to. Or it might be 2 people that irritate you the most. Could be, or something in between. That's not the hard part. You're going to bring them value. The hard part is getting those 2 to then do the same thing to 2 other people. So you can create like an atomic ripple reaction. Like your one activity, you're focused on 2 people, but then you get that to ripple out to the entire team. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
And then you go ahead and like figure out how to work with the programming team. Like, how do you go ahead and make that to just be part of the culture? So whenever I'm learning something, I think of 2 people so I can help those 2 people. And then I help those 2 people think of 2 people. So you help the whole team be considerate, compassionate, communicate, all of those type of things. So a lot of times I think it's little things. I don't know if we'll, like, time permitting, probably won't, but when I was 9 years old, my mom gave me the secret to understanding women. That same secret is actually not only the same secret for understanding women, but it's the same secret for understanding customers. It's the same secret for being a great team member. And it's often just the little things. We'll see if we, time permitting, we might swing back and tell that because it's a very powerful story. Luke, what you got?
So, how do you build the servicing pipeline as fast as you can build those sales? Or it seems like our sales pipeline is building a lot faster than our servicing is.
So again, going back to it's discipline and Good to Great, the book Good to Great by Jim Collins, disciplined people, disciplined thinkers, and discipline in taking action. And so, fish rots from the head down. So it starts with leadership. And so, when you look at this 530 grid, it has a lot of implications. It's the same thing. It's the same exact thing for hiring too. Marketing, who do you want to attract? And then, pre-sales and then the sales and then servicing. Then why prospects are lost or why mistakes are made. And so as a leader, it's like trying to get down, why do people go ahead and focus on fixing the symptom rather than the core, Luke?
Because it's a lot easier.
It's a lot easier. It's laziness, lazy and undisciplined. So somebody, didn't clean up after themselves after, the project. Somebody didn't communicate with the client well. Somebody, didn't plan well, didn't execute well. It's easy to fix that one specific situation. It's easiest in the short term. It's hard to say what's really happening here and why. So you can fix something in the short term, and I mean, it might literally take 3 minutes to fix it. It might take 30 minutes or 3 hours or 30 hours to fix it at the core. And so you have the personalities, you have how somebody was raised, you have their value system. So going into here, like getting it to where the culture, you have the 530 grid, but then leadership is the culture and values. Do you and Kenny clearly communicate the culture and values of the company? Have you put together something to go into, the into Life TPS? So every single team member has been exposed to your culture and values and with specific examples. And then the next is going to be the vision. What's the vision for servicing the clients? What's the vision for the company? What's the vision for each team member? And then you have belief systems and knowledge systems. And so if somebody has a belief system, nobody's perfect, everybody makes mistakes. What's going to happen, Luke?
People are going to make mistakes.
What if you don't have a belief of that? Like, what if you don't have the belief that nobody's perfect, everybody makes mistakes? What's going to happen?
You're going to make a lot less mistakes.
You're going to make a lot less. You're still going to make mistakes. But as soon as somebody goes ahead and, well, nobody's perfect, you can't make everybody happy. As soon as somebody gets into that mindset, they're going to make a lot more mistakes. They won't fix things at the core. They just accept things for what they are. And then the do, and then the give, and then the legacy. These are all things that seem to be not natural or normal in developing a people. So we have to do that as leaders, as owners of the company. We have to build a system to do that. And if we don't, we're going to pay. And I mean pay big. And you won't get a bill. Like this, you guys have had, like every company, you had some team members that haven't made it. None of us will ever know if you had this system in place, maybe they would have made it. We don't know because we didn't have the system in place. So having a system in place and then continuing to tweak that is not going to fix every situation. But if you can reduce it down 10%, 20%, 80, 30%, all the way up to 80, 90%, that's helpful. Nice. Nice. All right. Aaron, what would you like to accomplish today?
I had the same kind of question with the pre-sales and the 10 strategic strikes.
Nice. Do you have any questions on that or need any further clarification?
Not at the moment now.
Are you familiar with the 3 learning modalities? Visual. So people have 3 learning modalities. They learn visually, verbally, and kinesthetic. We learn by seeing, hearing, and touching and doing. The predominant is going to be seeing and hearing. That's why traditional schools, tend to go ahead and chalkboard and teacher talking. Montessori schools, they often cater to the kinesthetic, the little boy, the little girl that's touching everybody. That disrupts everybody. But that's how they learn, is by touching, by doing. But that's disruptive to everybody else. So people have a primary learning modality and a secondary learning modality. So if you lead probably with visual and then come in with verbal, and then you can ask questions or ask for interactions. So visual learning is you talk in terms. Do you see? Do you is this seen? Do you does this? Can you see this in your mind's eye? Anything visual. Verbal is, how does this sound to you? Do you hear this? Kinesthetic. So your appealing is going to be, does this feel? How does this feel to you? So if you go after the learning modalities, that's something that also can invoke it. You want them, when they read the story, ask the question, say, wow, that's a great question. If you get somebody to say, that's a great question 3 times or more, they'll just buy. It's a rule. I've been to networking events, and I had one guy, I probably talked to him 3 minutes. He said, Mark, I don't know what company you represent. We've just met, just talked for a few minutes. I don't care what you're selling. I just want to buy it. Why? Because I ask questions. And so the questions is really, really powerful. This is more of a journey than it is a destination. So keep me up to date on that. A lot of times I use a text document and then a spreadsheet. And so the spreadsheet tracks, the 10 plus touches, and then it has links into a text document. And I'm using both of those. And then, so if you do that spreadsheet and a text document, that'll put it together. Bella, questions you have?
No, I don't really have any questions, but I do really like the DNA for Success website with the different steps and the examples of the personality. I think that's like going to be helpful for me because I'm like more of a visual learner. So seeing that is a little bit helpful.
Nice. Yeah, it's a really cool site. You just go down to the little footprints, and that will go ahead and give you that. Anybody else have anything else?
Hey, Mark, I did have something off what you said. Like when we're doing our 10-minute presentations at BNI, would those presentations be better with questions in them versus us doing just an overview? Because mind you, our goal is not to get the people in the group to buy from us, but to get their referrals introduced to us to buy from us.
Absolutely. So yeah, ask a question, tell a story.
Okay.
Ask a question, tell a story. So have you ever, you're coming up with different questions. Have you ever, think of all the people that you know, all the business people you know? Just take a moment. And you can, if you want to control their minds to specific people, you can do that. Like, who are the business people who are marketing or whatever you want? And then say, have you ever wished that you had something of added value that you could bring to people that wouldn't take any cost of yours, any cost of theirs, and very little time? Well, we'd been looking for that you could say I'd been looking at for, 20 years plus. And what I found is it's through a nonprofit organization, and it's in 17 seconds, it'll analyze your personality. And then you hand out, a QR code that goes directly into your channel. Or you can go ahead and say, take out a business card. And another thing you can do is imagine. Like imagine your business, how you want your business to be. Imagine having the lifestyle you want to have. So you get them to paint a picture in their mind and then say, so take out a business card and write on that business card, what are the two biggest challenges that you see that you're facing that's holding you back from having the story of your life that you dream of? And then you go ahead and pick those up at the end. You have them give them, or you could put them in a fishbowl and have a drawing for, I don't know, a $20 gift certificate or whatever you have. But if you can get people's biggest challenge, you get them into the Life GPS AI version, and that will bring them value. And when you bring them value, then you'll ask them for referrals. And they're more likely to, because you've helped them, they'll help you. Real quick, I'll close with the story of the 9-year-old. So I was 9 years old, and I don't know how, but somehow my mom, I knew she loved sour cream and onion potato chips. And very frugal, both my parents. My dad was a pastor, so they'd never buy sour cream and onion potato chips. So one day on the way home from school, there was a corner store, and I said, I'm going to get my mom some sour cream and onion potato chips from my money that I earned from a paper route and selling Christmas trees and other things. So I stopped in, got a big bag of potato chips, brought them home, gave them to my mom. And I said, hey, Mom, this is for you. I didn't think it was that big of a deal. I mean, it's like all the things she did for me. And I'll never forget her response. She started crying. And I remember thinking in my 9-year-old brain, man, women are weird. I just think that's just strange. And then she kneeled down, and I'll never forget. She said, Mark, honey, you're going to make some woman the most amazing husband in the world because you're so sensitive to women. I'm a driver analytic. That might not be the word that you'd use for it, but my mom somehow implanted in me, be sensitive to women. And I remember thinking, this isn't that hard. It's really not. Well, that's not a secret just for women. It's helped me out in 42 years of marriage. It's helped me out with my 7 children, especially my 4 daughters. It's helped me with clients and friends. So it's not that hard, but it is. Not very many people do it. It's taking out the ego, focus on them, looking for little things. So when we do little things for other people, that creates a connection. It makes doing business fun. If you have any questions on anything we covered in the boot camp today, connect with the individual who invited you to participate in today's session. Did you have something else? Or you can go ahead and call toll free 888-230-2300, outside the US 630-393-9909. And always remember, we can accomplish so much more together than we ever could on our own. Have an amazing day. Bye-bye.